Connection with someone, like everything in the universe, was conspiring to bring you together. But still, things seemed out of your control. What if I told you that it's not a coincidence? There are encounters that we force and others that impose themselves on us, as if they were written long before we were even born. When Allah wants you to be with someone, nothing can stop it. Neither the distance, nor the time, nor the obstacles. But how do you know if this person is really meant to be part of your life? What are the signs that everything is already written? Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to hear might just change the way you view destiny and relationships. 1. The illusion of control versus the will of Allah. We move through life with the certainty that we control our destiny. We make plans, we set intentions, we dream of building our future with the person we have chosen. But if only we realize how limited our power is. We believe that our efforts, our sacrifices, our repeated prayers are enough to shape what is ours. But do we really have control? Look around you. The wind is blowing without you being able to stop it. Night falls without you being able to push it away. Your heart beats without you having to tell it to. So why would we think we control the encounters in our lives? Allah does what He wills, and you cannot will except as Allah wills, Lord of the worlds. There are times when we become attached to a person, when we want them in our life at all costs. We imagine them by our side in the future. We do everything to make it work. But despite our efforts, every door seems to close. So we resist, we force things. We refuse to accept that perhaps this person was never written for us. But if Allah has decided that this soul and yours should cross, no force on this earth will be able to keep them away. Not the distance, not the tests, no time. For what your Lord has decreed for you will always find its way to you. But are we ready to submit to this truth? We spend our lives clinging to plans we have drawn with our own hands, forgetting that the most beautiful story is the one that Allah writes for us. There is a reason why some people come into our lives and others leave. There is wisdom behind every door that closes and every other one that opens. But do we have the courage to let go? Our challenge is not to try to control everything, but to learn to accept that nothing belongs to us except what Allah wills for us. 2. The story of Musa, A.S., and his destiny. Imagine yourself in a country that is not yours alone, fatigued without a destination. Your heart pounds in your chest, not from the heat, but from the weight of the unknown. This is how Musa, A.S., moved forward after fleeing Egypt, a broken man, wandering without knowing that each step brought him closer to a destiny already written for him. There was nothing, no family to guide him, nor wealth to protect him, not even a direction to follow. But what he didn't know was that each trial brought him exactly where Allah wanted him to be. After days of walking, he arrives near a well, a simple water point in appearance, but in reality, the turning point of his life. 2 women were there, hesitant in the background. They could not water their animals until the men around the well had left. Musa, tired and hungry, with nothing to offer, nevertheless made a choice. He helped them without expecting anything in return, a simple gesture, an act of pure sincerity. What he didn't know was that this moment would change everything, because these 2 women were going to tell their father about his actions. This father was going to offer him a roof over his head, a job, stability he would never have imagined. And one of these 2 women was going to become his wife. Look at how Allah orchestrates destinies. A man lost in a desert, thinking he is fleeing, but in reality, he is moving towards the precise place where he was supposed to be. A simple service rendered to strangers, but in reality, the first step towards home. And you, how many times have you had an encounter without immediately understanding its impact? Maybe a smile exchanged in the street, a word given without a second thought, a seemingly coincidence that wasn't in reality just the beginning of a story that Allah writes for you. Never underestimate a moment, an encounter, an exchange, for what your heart seeks could already be on its way to you without you even knowing it. 3. Allah's signs that you should recognize. Have you ever felt this strange feeling that someone absolutely had to come into your life? Not a simple coincidence, not just an ordinary encounter, but something more, something you can't explain. We live in a world where we think everything is random, that our relationships are built on choices, circumstances, efforts. But the truth is that Allah always leaves clues along our path. Destiny does not knock on your door with a grandiose announcement. It slips into the details, into those moments that go unnoticed. But you still need to have the eyes to see and the heart to understand. First sign, when obstacles inexplicably disappear. There are paths that we force, doors that we try to open again and again, and which remain closed. And then there are these meetings where everything seems fluid. What seemed impossible becomes simple. Difficulties disappear without explanation. The barriers fall as if they never existed. It's as if someone had already prepared the ground long before you arrived. When Allah wants to unite two souls, He opens the paths. He removes doubts. He simplifies the impossible. Second sign, peace of the heart. There are people who come into your life and bring with them noise, doubt, agitation. And then there are those who bring peace. Not a noisy peace, not a temporary euphoria, but one deep, calming, the one that makes you say, I don't need to run anymore. When Allah places a person in your path, He does not bring you confusion. He brings you calm. You don't need to struggle anymore. You no longer need to ask yourself 1,000 questions. This person doesn't exhaust you. They calm you down. Third sign, the remembrance of Allah. One of the greatest signs is when this person does not take you away from Allah, but instead brings you back to Him. She encourages you to do good. She pushes you towards patience, sincerity, righteousness. She helps you become a better version of yourself, not by constraint, but by inspiration. True love is not the one that chains you, but the one that elevates you. So open your eyes. If you find these signs on your way, don't ignore them. Allah writes stories long before we experience them, but we have a choice. The test, when to accept and let go. There are separations that break more than a heart. They shatter an illusion, a hope, a future that we had already imagined. When Allah distances us from someone, we resist. We cling to that person as if they were a part of us. We refuse to admit that maybe it was never written for us. And that's where the real test begins. Because sometimes the greatest act of love that Allah offers us is to take away from us what we wanted so much. When a door closes, we tend to see separation as a punishment, as if we had failed, like we're not good enough for this person. But what if this closure was a protection? It may be that you love a thing although it is bad for you, and it may be that you hate a thing although it is good for you. Allah knows, but you do not know. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:216. You believe that this person would bring you happiness. You think you could have made her happy. You think that if it had been kept, everything would have been different. But Allah says, what you do not know. Perhaps it would have been a test in disguise. Maybe she would have kept you away from him. Maybe the love you feel today would have ended up becoming an even greater pain. And maybe one day you will thank your Lord for not answering this prayer. Trust your Creator. He knows the depths of your heart better than you do. He knows what will do you good, and what seemingly beautiful could destroy you. If it's written, it will happen, and if it's not written, Allah will give you much better. The invocation that changes everything. There comes a time when you have to stop looking for signs, stop trying to understand everything, stop holding on to what you want, and start looking for what Allah wants for you. If you want to know if someone is meant to be with you, if this relationship is a blessing or a disguised hardship, don't ask people. Don't look for answers in your doubts, in your emotions, in your fears. Talk to the one who controls hearts, the invocation that lights the way. If you feel this uncertainty, if your heart swings between hope and confusion, then say these words with sincerity. Ya Allah, if this person is good for me in this life and in the hereafter, bring them closer to me, and if they are evil for me, remove them and replace them with what is better for me. Do not recite these words as a simple formula. Say them from your heart. Make it a sincere prayer, a total surrender into His hands. Then, let Allah decide. Submission to His wisdom. Do not try to immediately interpret what happens after this invocation. If this person moves away, don't struggle. If they come back, welcome them with confidence. But in any case, know that you have been heard. Sometimes distancing is the answer. Sometimes an unexpected return is a blessing. But the biggest answer? It is peace in your heart, because when you let Allah choose for you, you never lose. And in the end, if this person is written for you, then nothing and no one can prevent this union. When Allah wants you to be with someone, it will happen. Every encounter in your life has a purpose. Some come as a blessing, others as a lesson. But one thing is certain, what is written for you will always find you. So now, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever felt like Allah was guiding you towards a particular person? Or on the contrary, did you have to accept that He would take you away from someone? Share your experience in the comments. Your story might inspire and comfort someone else. And above all, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any reminder that could light your path. Trust in Allah and let yourself be guided towards what is truly written for you.